There's plenty of gurus out there selling you on passive income that doesn't require any effort. Well, they're showing you exactly how to have your money just pass you by. Yep, that's a different definition of passive income. It isn't as passive as you've been told or sold, and it's actually costing you a fortune. See, there are ways to create cash flow and recurring revenue and have money come in without you having to do work daily, but how you actually create that, how you get there, well, that's where the biggest mistakes are made. Mistakes that rob wealth and ultimately lead to bitterness. So, regardless of how much money you have or don't have, regardless of where you're starting, you can actually create economic independence and cash flow, but not if you treat it completely passively. We've been lied to and manipulated by people that want to separate us from our money, right? The story goes like this. Just get into this real estate fund or this investment fund, or just put your money into this with a highly intelligent, great manager with this great track record. And they've been doing this for so long, and whatever that story is, and then you're just led to believe you're going to be rich. But if there were something that magical out there, wouldn't we all be rich by now? Wouldn't we all want to own it? There isn't some magic investment, just like there's no magic pill that will do the workout for you if you want to get fit, or get you good rest for you, or eat well for you, or lower your stress permanently and just create the ideal life. That doesn't happen in finance either. We give up our financial freedom to people who make these promises that they just can't keep, that the investment world isn't designed to keep. The reason they're not designed to keep it is, well, they just want to get your money and make money on your money. When they tell you it takes money to make money, it takes your money for them to make money. When they tell you it takes high risk to get high return, it takes you taking risk for them to get a return. So if you believe it requires no effort, that it's that passive and we just hand our money over and then poof, all of a sudden it's going to automatically grow and it'll be fine and it's going to be safe and it'll work out. Unfortunately, that's not how financial freedom works.
The best deals a lot of times to find something more passive is actually, ironically, requires more time up front. It's more active up front to create something that's more passive, but to think that it's going to be truly 100% passive is such a rare find. Right. This notion of mailbox money, this notion of, oh, it's just going to work out. Like, sure, do those circumstances exist? Yes, but they're few and far between. I feel like if you don't manage it or monitor it, you're not going to maintain it. How's that for 3 M's right there? Huh?
I love it. Another alliteration, 2 in 1 episode.
Passive income requires active upfront investing. So if you're going to invest, you got to get clear about what you're going to invest in, how it works, how you're going to benefit from it, if it's going to cash flow from day one, how you can mitigate the risk and manage the risk, how you can protect that downside, what types of economies and things might not make it work out. And if that starts to exhaust you when I start saying all those things, I get it. Like, the good news, though, is you don't need to know 85-90% of what you think you need to know about money. You need to know what money is, how it works, and then I'm going to give you in the second step the way to become a better investor.
So there are things that are less active than businesses or less active than, real estate, but they're still going to require something up front to find the right deals. Because it's kind of a strange notion to think that there's all these deals out there in the world and that the best ones are going to come to the people who are passive about it. Like, if you're passive about it, the people that treat it like a business that are active about it, they're going to find the better deals. They're going to be, actively searching for this.
So if you're going to invest, just ask the simple thing. What are the underlying economic principles at play? All that means is, like, why would someone want this? Why would it go up in value? Why is it valuable to the marketplace? Why would someone see this appreciate over time? The second piece is, who's accountable if the investment goes into default? By the way, the answer? It's you. It's you. You got to make sure when you're allocating, it makes sense. The third thing, is the value proposition clear to you? And can you describe the value proposition of the investment? So that's just the basics of why it would work, how it would work, and how you benefit, how the marketplace benefits, and how whoever you invest the money with benefits. If you get clear about that, that's the value proposition. Fourth, is this investment a one-time opportunity, meaning you got to act now opportunity, or does it offer ongoing systems and possibilities for wealth creation? Does it create recurring revenue because you spent time up front? These are some of the things that are really important. And the next piece is, what reason other than rate of return would you invest in the investment? See, when we get caught up in rate of return, right now we might get super excited about gold and silver because it's running up, or cryptocurrency because it's doing better. But what if you don't understand why that would go up, or when to get out, or how that works, or what's really going on? So I want to look beyond just rate of return and say, what's your investor DNA? How do you relate to that investment? And just a few yes or no questions are going to help you out with this, which is, do you understand the investment adequately to make your own decision? If not, you're not ready to invest in that. Is there a way to ensure or protect the investment? Yes or no? Like, Banks, when you get a loan from them, they're usually protecting it with anything from the collateral of a car or a home or down payment or mortgage insurance. There's a number of things. How do you protect the downside? And then finally, do you know the people involved in generating the return for the investment? If you don't, then that might be too speculative. So if you want to create more passive income, ask these questions, become a better investor, do better due diligence. Because if you want to have a better situation, passive income is only going to come to you if you're active up front. Otherwise, it's going to pass you by if you think it means handing money over to advisors that are no more than salespeople. If you're looking for passive income, what I'm saying is look at a lot of deals up front. Look at deals that make sense based upon who you are and who you know and what deals they can bring you. And don't try to get good at everything because that's a recipe for disaster. Get good at just one or a few things. You've got to know what to invest in and spend time searching for the things that are right for you, that you understand, that are part of your investor DNA. If you're more active up front to determine what investments are right for you, and you're more willing to research and really say no to several things, then you can actually create passive income in an ongoing manner.
I think that it's important in a book I wrote to figure out your passive income index, which is anytime that you're investing, ask these few questions. First is it providing immediate and regular cash flow versus just paying off someday or trickling in unpredictably? And you can even rank this. You could say, well, on a scale of 0 to 5. 5 is it's definitely regular. The second question would be, how much of your personal time is required to manage this investment, right? Or how much can you delegate? The more you can delegate, the higher the score. The less that you can, the less passive it is, right? Third, how sustainable is the cash flow? How much longevity does it have? There's some things that might be temporary cash flow, but then it goes away. So the higher the score, the more sustainable it is. Fourth, can you manage the investment from anywhere in the world? Is it something you can do from a phone or a laptop? And then 5, does the cash flow have the ability to increase over time?
So why would you generate a return on investment? When you're allocating money, ask that question. How does the investment work and perform? How do you know if it's going to work or not work? Why do you have the opportunity over someone else with that type of investment? Is the opportunity long-term or is it short-term? These are the questions that if you ask will help you to become a better investor, to be more active up front. Ask how much of your involvement is required to make that investment work. We've got an amazing tool called the Investment Scorecard, which helps you to determine what investment's right for you. You go to wealthfactory.com/scorecard, and it's 10 questions that help you to align investments with where your knowledge is, where your investor DNA is. Investor DNA is your core values, your competencies, and your drivers, so you could focus on what makes sense rather than diversifying into things that you don't know anything about. Here's something that might fly in the face of what you've been told or what you've even told other people your whole life. The third piece to create more passive income and to overcome the notion of just handing your money over and losing it is to learn how to focus rather than diversify. Diversification is really something that when someone becomes economically independent, they can use. Economic independence is having assets create enough cash flow to cover your basic expenses. When you get to that point and you're going, well, I have more cash to invest, you might start investing in something else, but not if it's not aligned with your investor DNA. You might invest into another asset class because now you've got time to invest more knowledge and invest more time and build the type of team there. So look, when people are crazy rich, they've got to diversify because they've got more money than maybe one category is really going to be serving them best. And it's a great way to preserve wealth, but it's not a good way to grow wealth. So important if you're going to focus instead of diversify, because diversification becomes diversification, is you build your foundation. When you're on the proper foundation, when you set up the right safety and security through having enough cash on hand, having insurances and asset protection and corporate structures so that you own nothing but still control everything, and then when you start looking at ways you can protect the downside of your investments, and then you continue to increase your education so you know what you're getting into and what risks you face, and then you invest only in things that you know, and even be willing to sit on the sidelines and sit in cash until it's the right time to go and invest, and when it's the right time to buy because now you can make money on the buy, well, that's when you can actually focus. When you're willing to have those things handled, you focus instead of diversify. What you figure out is how you make money on the buy. During chaotic, times, economic recessions and depressions, there's people that are distressed that need a bailout, that need help. Now, it's not the government that can bail them out. It's you if you have the cash, you if you have the knowledge, and you can help them out so they don't lose everything.
There are funds in real estate. There's hard money lending funds. There's tax liens. Why don't we just start with tax lien certificates? As of 2017, there was 3,142 counties across the United States They require property taxes to be paid so that they can fund the many public services offered to the community. Property taxes are a major source of revenue for these, counties. So if property owners fail to pay their property taxes, then there's a financial shortfall of revenue for the county, which will have an adverse effect on the community. So when a property owner becomes delinquent on their property taxes, then the city or county in which the property is located can place a lien on the property. This lien is a legal claim against the property for unpaid amount that is owed, right? So a property with a lien attached to it can't be sold or refinanced until the taxes are paid and the lien is removed. This is known as a tax lien. It's a certificate as a first position lien on real estate. In other words, it's the obligation to pay property taxes before any of the other debts are paid. So that tax lien certificate is created by a municipality and reflects the amount that is owed on the property tax plus any interest and penalties due. So these certificates are auctioned off to investors. Tax liens can be purchased for as little as a few $100s, can be as high as hundreds of thousands of dollars. They can be purchased on residential or commercial properties or even undeveloped land. Investors buy them because property owners must pay off the lien with interest in order to remove the lien. That interest goes to the investors who would have purchased the liens, right? So in other words, the tax liens, they come with legally mandated returns. They're amongst the safest and highest yielding investments that you find for small amounts of investment. But there's people that do this full time, and this is their profession. And so a lot of times they're going to get the best deals. So these can pay annualized interest rates that are 12%, 18%, or in some circumstances, 36% per year. But you have to kind of know what you're doing. And thinking of how much interest your savings account is paying you right now, this seems like it might be a viable option, but you have to make sure it's part of investor DNA. It's something you truly understand. So you don't have to settle for kind of the measly returns that are out there in financial institutions, and you can start to look at some of these other opportunities. And you might even end up with a property if you begin a foreclosure process, right? So you can either work on these types of things or just set money aside, because most mutual funds don't pay much cash flow or interest. Even stocks that are dividend paying stocks, it's usually not really high interest rates that are coming in. So here's just one example of something that you might be able to do. So the next thing I want to talk about is like maybe building or buying storage units. Now, look, I don't invest in tax liens or storage units. I did other real estate. It didn't really interest me. I'm a business guy and intellectual property guy, as you know.
Yes.
So a storage unit, well, this could be a way to leverage real estate to generate cash flow. You receive cash flow from rent, and if the tenants don't pay, you get to auction off their stuff and evict them, and hell, maybe even have a TV series, right? There's TV series on this, isn't there?
Yeah, where there's a bunch of people, they're auctioning off a unit. They don't know what's inside until they open the door, and then you never know if they're left with a doozy or something like really valuable, like a storage, closet full of antiques or something like that.
Not my game, but
yeah,
that's cool.
I don't want to deal with everybody else's stuff.
I need to get rid of stuff, not get more
Right.
stuff at this point. Now, these could require kind of a lot of money up front, but the cash flow for this could be great. And they can do fine in a recession, because a lot of times people end up, leaving their homes or having to downsize, and, they require storage units to kind of take care of their stuff. So if you are considering investing in storage units, just look at these kind of things like geography. Make sure you're not building or buying an area where there's an oversupply of these kind of options. And, locations, are there competitors nearby, or does it have good visibility? And management with storage units, you're not just buying a piece of real estate, you're buying a business that actually has to be managed properly, which can you delegate that or have someone do that? Want to master your money? Want to figure out the things that you could do to improve your finances? Click here and check out more videos like this on Money Matters.